It's not just radio, it's Rockland World Radio. RocklandWorldRadio.com.
Welcome to Divine Dialogue, heard on Rockland World Radio every Monday evening at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Sure to check out the archives of past Divine Dialogues. And now the host of Divine Dialogues, A.Howard and Theresa Wienecke.
Good evening, everyone,
Hello.
and welcome to This or Better's Divine Dialogue.
Sorry we were running a few minutes late tonight. If you tried to join us at 7 o'clock, there's lots of traffic coming in this evening.
Right.
So pardon us for being late.
Rich called it the season of chaos, which, you know, is that's a whole series of shows in and of itself. So tonight, we wanted to check in with everyone and see how, maybe Rich is right, the season of chaos. Is it brewing inside? And if it is, how appropriate that this weekend, Saturday, the 21st, would be the winter solstice. And it's a wonderful opportunity. There are various organizations that host celebrations on the winter and summer solstice, and it's more or less a form of honoring the season. In many religions and cultures, they have different ways of celebrating the winter solstice. With Centers for Spiritual Living in Nyack, their solstice celebration will be on Saturday evening. I believe at 6:30 is 6:30 is the start time. If you've ever been to a solstice celebration, then you're already amongst the fortunate, and so you don't need any encouragement to go. If you've never been to one, I can tell you that my first experience was about 4 years ago, and I wouldn't miss a solstice celebration, at least not by my own will. Mm-hmm. It's a wonderful, beautiful experience. It's a perfect opportunity when the holidays and all the hustle and bustle that come with them, as much as the joy and the fun, because holidays are fun, but with it sometimes comes a silent anxiety. And so the winter solstice at Centers for Spiritual Living, Rockland County, which is located at 521 North Broadway, will begin at 6:30 on Saturday, and it would truly be a beautiful gift to give to yourself, to allow yourself to be present for this beautiful occasion and experience solstice in action. It's also on Friday evening at 6:30, a solstice celebration will be taking place in Morristown, New Jersey at Centers for Spiritual Living, Morristown. And the address there is 331 Mount Kimball Ave in Morristown. That's 331 Mount Kimball Ave, and that's Friday at 6:30, and they will be serving light refreshments after the service. That's the celebration that I've been a part of for the past few years, and it's been wonderful to be a part of it, but it's just incredibly moving to be in the presence of the celebration. It's often prepared and hosted by practitioners and reverends, but there's also members of the congregation that typically participate. But it's just it's a very beautiful, calming, for me, it's a very calming experience.
So what's your experience from when you start to when it finishes the celebration? And what is it that moves, that's shifted in you besides calming?
Aside from the consciousness, the beauty of, I want to say the best part is that your attention for that celebration, for that period, is brought to this beautiful space of solitude and peace. And in that moment, and it's not a moment, it's typically an hour-long event. It can be. I think it can even be longer. But you are brought to such a beautiful, sacred space within yourself and your understanding of the season and the holidays. For me, it was so extraordinary the very first time, because it just broadened my view on what the holidays and what Christmas really meant, regardless of what your religion was. You know, for Catholics it's Christmas, and for non-denominational organizations it would be a solstice celebration, just like Kwanzaa would be another form, or Hanukkah. So it's not a religion of itself, but some religions and cultures in the world do participate and celebrate the solstice. I think winter is more beautiful than the summer solstice. I haven't seen any spectacular summer solstice events, but so I can't speak to that. But it is the longest and shortest days of the year. It only happens twice. And so it's just, aside from all the science, it's a beautiful experience. It's a beautiful experience. And it'd be a great opportunity, especially for people in this Rockland County area, to experience Centers for Spiritual Living Rockland County, which is held on Sunday service is held at 10:30 at the Fellowship of Reconciliation building on North Broadway, 521 North Broadway. So if you can't get to a solstice celebration, then check out services on Sunday at Friendship of Reconciliation. I'm
So
sure there'll be
as
some-
luck would have it, as invitation would have it, an expert is here
Yes.
for the Rockland Center for Spiritual Living, who we'd love to call up and share about what will be happening at the solstice there. So we welcome again our dear friend, Jan Shaheen.
Let's get a chair. Oh, you got it? Thank you. So Jan is smiling because we called her an expert, and she's so humble. But really, the truth is, we're laughing because we know none of us are experts. But Jan is a
Well, I
member
can tell you
at
the
Centers.
definition of an expert.
Is what? What is the
It's
definition?
an idiot from out of town.
The idiot. The no-named idiot from out of town. Jan is a member at Centers for Spiritual Living Rockland County, and so who better than to give you the details on this beautiful event that Reverend Jennifer Berkeley has prepared. She sent me the documents today for my participation.
Yay.
So,
Yeah, it should be a lot of fun, and I think it will be very meaningful. We're going to have the Nyack Senior High School Choir present.
oh, that's right.
And we're going to have participation by some other children, and it'll be an interfaith celebration, and candle lighting, which is always a lovely thing to do
Right,
as the sun is setting already.
right.
And the music is led by, I have been to the Sunday services there, and the music, the whole experience of the event or the service has been so escalated by Jim, who is the
Our new
director there.
musical
Jim
director, Jim Bro,
B-R,
Ough,
Jim Bro.
who's
So
available
the-
for event.
So, and he's
I
working
am not
with,
his agent.
I guess, what did I read? Nyack High School's advanced chorus.
Advanced chorus. Yeah.
Is it a big chorus, Jim?
I don't know. I haven't seen them, but one of our members was at another event and talked to their director. So we're graced to have them with us, and some other children will be participating, and many of us will be participating, doing different prayers from different traditions, as well as a
Right.
reading.
So it starts at 6:30.
Starts at 6:30, and it's followed by a potluck afterwards. If you want to bring some food and share, or just come and eat our food.
And I must say, the center, the building that the services are held every week is an extraordinary building, which I think adds so much to the experience of being not only amongst the wonderful people that go there on a weekly basis, but just the environment of being in a building at FOR on the Hudson, overlooking the Hudson in this beautiful old building. I don't know if you know the history of the building or when it was built, but it's a beautiful old.
It was originally owned by a single family, I understand. I don't know all the details, but it goes back many, many years. And, you know, we have been very grateful to have that space as we grow and, you know, come into our own as we get bigger and bigger. They also have a solstice celebration the following day. So
really?
there's an abundance of solstice celebrations.
I was just
but-
thinking that
Yeah.
because I'll be on one Friday
Yeah.
and then one on one Saturday.
So for the regular Sunday services, which are at 10:30, is there going to be one this Sunday?
No.
So it's
Our
just-
service is taking place Saturday night so that FOR can have their regular solstice
Okay, great.
ceremony. So this will take the place of our service, but it'll be something more, much more. Yeah.
Oh, it is taking place at the service?
Yes.
Yeah, the Sunday
Oh.
service,
Yeah.
yeah.
So we're
Okay.
not having a Sunday service this coming week.
Okay, so we were talking about people with families. Who would this solstice service be great for people to bring kids, like from what ages?
Yeah, definitely. We don't really have capacity for little ones, but we do have we're going to build a tween program in the coming year, and we're already working on that. But definitely kids that are in school, and, you know, we have a number of families that have either children or grandchildren that are in that ages, so school-age children, I think.
School-age
yeah.
children, okay.
Right. But the event itself, is that what you mean with
Yes,
the
at
event
the
itself?
You
event.
can
At the
always, you're
event
always
itself.
welcome to bring your little ones, but, you know, depending upon their tolerance, I think we may have a baby there, I'm not sure.
Right. That's what I thought, that I might consider bringing a baby myself there. And then I thought to myself, I'm not sure that I could keep Anthony quiet in the beautiful moments of sacred silence. Which I don't know how much of that there will be, but I would imagine there's some. It still is a very sacred
Absolutely.
service. So that, you know, the atmosphere, and it can be dark with just the lights, you know, the candlelight.
candles.
So sometimes for small children, you know, that experience might be
Well,
uncomfortable to them, but we trust the process.
Yeah, and the theme is about coming into the light, coming into your own light.
Right.
You know, this is the time of year where we talk about birth, renewal. And, you know, it's not just a Christian tradition. You know, it's a tradition throughout the world for birth and renewal. So this is our time of year for that.
Right. And then it opens the door to the new year. Right? So this is the period in our lives. Rich, it's funny that Rich called it the season of chaos. We call it the season of rebirth. And then
Well, there can be a lot of chaos around birth or rebirth.
there typically is some chaos around delivery, right? You know, so don't knock the chaos every now and then. It's a signal of something even greater to come, right?
Well, certainly those of us in the teaching of science of mind know that chaos is an opportunity.
Right. And either we're just all out of our mind, and so then let us be out of our mind. So in any event, we opened up that discussion to the new year and what it brings. But before we jump to the new year, I thought that we could benefit from talking a little bit about what this holiday, this rebirth, is for us individually, what we'd like it to be and what we see it being. I laugh at his comments about the season of chaos, and yet I can't help but notice that there seems to be a little extra chaos in my personal experience, in my environment right now. And chaos it's not meant to imply, so we shouldn't assume that chaos is bad. Chaos meaning lots of excitement and a lot of things. There's lots of activity. So chaos is not always a negative. So let me define that right off the bat. That, at least for me, it is not. When it's bad chaos, I will let you know. You know, usually my eyebrows will reach the top of my head, and you'll notice the difference. But so for the rebirth for me, I believe, after some wonderful conversations that I had, and we shared on our power call about, you know, having talked with Reverend Jennifer and some of my fellow practitioners and told them about this tug I feel at my heart, because I have two centers that I'm affiliated with, one of which I am entrenched as a board member and a member, and I love my center, and I swore that I could never leave that center. And then there's my love for this new center, which is Centers for Spiritual Living in Rockland County. And all of this transpires because I have to make the move from New York to New Jersey, and where do I want to be? I don't really have to do anything. So I've come to the revelation that I don't really have to do anything. Everything could stay exactly how it is right now. It doesn't have to become something specific. Yet I was attached to having to make a decision. You know, do I have to pick one or the other? And so the rebirth that I feel is Lisa learning to, or being willing to let go completely of things. You know, when you, were we talking earlier today, and I was having this conversation, I talked about keeping one foot in the condition and one foot in the possibility. Mm-hmm. And that as long as you're straddling, you know, I feel like I'm straddling that railing, and one side is not the condition, but what has become, because the condition doesn't have to be that it's a negative. I'm just saying that being connected here, this is my life, and as I'm growing, I can feel myself growing. The sense of chaos comes when I fight or resist it.
Right.
And that's not even consciously resist it. You know, most of the time we're unaware of just how much we resist growth. Even when it's something that we want, we're afraid of the unknown, so to speak. So that's the rebirth I'm looking for, is being able to move a foot in either direction.
Right, because as long as we're holding on to the past or the current, and we're trying to straddle over to the new and the welcome in the new, we don't open up any room to bring in the new wholly and completely.
Right,
Right.
right. And so that rail is like a divide. So right now on my spiritual path, although to me it's a beautiful moment, and Reverend Jennifer brought that to my attention, this is a huge growth opportunity right now. And so it really does speak volumes for how much growth I have experienced in the past year. But so you're right at the edge, you just got to take that next step. It's the hardest. It feels hard. So my rebirth is the release of that, and I'm so looking forward to, with great anticipation, am I looking forward to the new year. And in the process, I've really sat back and not allowed myself to get too caught up in the holiday. My tree is not 100% done. I'm half of the shopping that I would have done is done. There's plenty of things I could be doing around the house. I still have a career, and instead of getting pumped up by it, allowing myself to enjoy what I'm witnessing and people starting to celebrate. So the solstice is just perfect timing. Perfect timing for me to slide and in and then exhale.
Well, the biggest part of the sliding in, because you won't slide until you actually make a decision.
Right.
And we find that when we straddle and we don't actually make a decision for what it is, a committed decision, not like, I'll do it and we'll see what happens and then I'll slide back, but let's make a decision, a committed decision. I'm all in. I'm all in. Or I'm not. Because until you make that committed decision, the world can't come and support you in whatever it is that's waiting to be birthed, to come through you.
Well, I think the interesting thing about solstice, even that word, no matter what tradition you come from, if you look at it from the Eastern perspective, the symbol of yin and yang. Yin and yang is not meant to be rigid and at a point. You notice in the circle there are two little points, one in yin and one in yang. But yin and yang is about always being in flux, trying to be in balance, but always being in flux. You're always either moving into something or out of something. And, that could be kind of a metaphor here for, what you're talking about. It's process, and we all have to come to understand it's part of the process. Not to disregard what you're saying. You jump in or you decide not to jump in, make room or don't make room. But it can be a process. It can be a process, for some people the process takes a while. Sure. And I think that's okay. I think the thing, and particularly bringing it back to science of mind treatment, is to know your truth. To really know your truth.
Mm-hmm. Right.
What is the truth for you? What is it that you really, really want?
I agree with you. When I have this image of the yin and the yang, I think of like this swishing, like this just, it goes like this until it's ready
and a gentle swoosh.
Right, a very gentle swoosh until you make the decision, and then it moves. It's
and then you're in a different place, yeah.
Right, when the Earth rotates around the sun, it's not that it goes like this, but it shifts the axis. So
it's fair to say that I am swooshing right now.
Yeah.
So I am swooshing, so there's nothing wrong with that. But coming from a metal saleswoman, I once used the analogy when a woman asked me how a spiritual journey or how the classes that I was, how was it changing my life? And I said, well, take a look at a flatbed, put a round bar on one and a hexagon on the other, and now tilt it either way. Which one rolls smoother? The hexagon, clunk, 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 boom, and so that's kind of how my life was, or how it used to operate. It felt like a hexagon. It moved, and it was in rotating motion, but each move was an effort, and stopping, whereas the bar just rolled. And I think that the yin and yang metaphor is very similar to that you roll into it by the gravity of your own will and your own consciousness. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Well, Janet said, when you look at your own truth.
Yeah, you respect your process, yeah.
So when you want to talk a little bit about what is, your truth, not particularly your truth, but in general, people's truths about themselves. How would you, in science of mind or in religious science, how
Well,
would you define that?
You know, Teresa, I come back to what I think about why people seek a spiritual community. You know, I've said this over and over again to people, so they're probably tired of hearing it. But, you know, my belief is that we seek a spiritual community because there's something within us that wants to be our best self. And, you know, people can put all kinds of words and religious words to that. But I kind of, you know, that's my most simplistic way of describing it. We want to be good. We want to be our best good self, our best God self, well, however you want to call it. And we want connection. You know, not just to ourselves and to our concept of divinity, we want connection to each and every one of us. And so we seek people of like minds, and you know, sometimes we're not always of such like minds, but you know, we have the opportunity in any group to have various shades of like minds. So we seek people who kind of, you know, have an appreciation, and I'll go further, I'll say, have a respect for, you know, I don't know how you grew up. I know a little bit more about Lisa. You know, I mean, I came through many spiritual traditions. I started out, I think my first church was a Baptist church when I was about 3 or 4. I can remember that. My parents came from different religions. My mother was brought up Roman Catholic. My father came from a Syrian Orthodox tradition. You know, over the years, I had, you know, one of the greatest privileges you can have. You know, I had a dad who endorsed that I could seek my truth. So he let me, and even accompanied me to various different churches. I never found what I was looking for. I was 14 or 15, you know, who knew what I was really looking for. But, you know, in the last couple of years at the Center for Spiritual Living Rockland, and there were lots of groundwork laid before that, I found what I was looking for. I found a community of people that have respect for lots of different traditions, you know, that respect all kinds of traditions in coming to a place of divinity and connection with divinity. So, you know, for me, I guess this season is about that.
And what I find is when I do go to the center in Rockland, when you say, you know, like-minded people coming together and you're searching for your good self, your best self, your God self, I always feel, from the time I enter those doors to when I come out, I always find that I'm on a much higher level of vibration of my own truth, my own God self, that I leave that, and it's just a wonderful place to leave from, because I'm so inspired by not only, you know, the whoever the speaker is, Reverend Jennifer, but also the participants, and coming together afterwards and sharing a coffee or, you know, whatever, some food with them.
Well, social hour for me.
That's connection.
Right, the social hour, be it at Rockland County, otherwise known as Nyack, or Morristown. And I'm speaking specifically of Centers for Spiritual Living because that has been my preferred choice of spiritual nourishment for the past 10 years. But, all in all, 10 years. But in particular, the social hour of any spiritual celebration is usually, it's not an end, it's not just social hour, it's an extension of service, and it's really, I think, the meat and potatoes. The message is beautiful, and you take away the golden nugget that doesn't always seem apparent at the moment that you're listening to it, but the connection that you make in social hour when you are amongst people who are all at least resonating somewhat in harmony with one another is a beautiful, beautiful experience. And it allows you to appreciate your humanness because it's all part of the process. So, you know, to Jan's point that I want to say like-minded, but I'm starting to shy away from this, from my mental conception of like-mindedness, because I do want people around me. That's not to imply that we all think alike, and you know, in fact, our silver lining are in the people who don't think like we do. The education it comes from the people who don't. If two minds think alike, one of us is not needed. You know, that's that quote has gone over and over again in my head for many, many years, and I get it now. Now I know what that means. So to have difference without indifference.
I like that.
So to respect differences. And so when you talk about respect and so on, for me, it's just plain respect. It's not even, because I think when someone possesses, I think people, in my experience, who are in pursuit of a spiritual path are looking, they are looking for fulfillment in some way. Mm-hmm. Emma Curtis Hopkins, when she talks about the one thing that we all have in common, because none of us want the same things, but yet the one thing we all have in common is our desire for satisfaction. What satisfies us is different. But so that's the one common thread. Even if oneness is not a thought in someone's mind, the very thing is like, it's a win-win for all of us. We're all seeking satisfaction. And so in a spiritual pursuit, regardless of whether it comes from this romantic, beautiful space of wanting to connect with people, or whether it's just trying to connect with yourself through a spiritual practice.
Yeah, I think most of us understand at some point when, we get a little more mature that we've got to start with ourselves, In
Right.
so many places we run up against that over and over again. And, I've been, a lot of people say, oh, you do so much for the center, blah, blah, blah. And I come back to, yes, I do it out of selfishness. I do it because it's important to me to have that kind of community. It's important for my health. I mean, you can describe health any way you want, but for my total health, my emotional health, my spiritual health, etc., for me to have that kind of thing in my life. So, what do you do if there's something you want? You work to make it happen, or if it's already happened, you work to keep it happening. So, the concept of connection also requires something from us.
Maintenance.
Yeah.
I call it maintenance.
Yeah. Hopefully it's not like some relationships that are high maintenance.
Right.
Yeah, it's maintenance, exactly.
So I just want to say, if anyone out there listening, watching, would like to participate in the conversation, either on what is it that they maintain in themselves or what they like to participate in that brings out their higher self, their good self, or just participate in talking about the solstice experience that they have. The number here is 845-353-2910. Or go on to rocklandworldradio.com and you can send us an email at teresa@dynamicevolution.com if you like, if you're shy and you want to send a question in, we could read it and answer you.
And so while we wait for the lines to open, assuming that someone wants to share a little bit about their experience or something that they got from the show, I want to bring to at least the forefront that our plans for our classes that will be beginning in January. There are some final details that haven't been worked out, but we do anticipate a start time of January 14th in that area, if not on that date. So please keep in touch. Visit our website, thisorbetter.com. Check the events page. Otherwise, you can email us. Just click on the contact button and email us at thisorbetter.com and let us know if you might be interested in participating. Our workshops, we ideally 20 people would work. We often are as intimate as 4, but Teresa and I do facilitate programs that are anywhere from 8 to 10 weeks long. And for many of our students, we have testimonies that I think that you would find inspiring as well. And if you should so choose, give yourself this gift this holiday of truly working with yourself, not on yourself, but working with yourself to build the life of your dreams, to have confidence in the ability to dream, because for some people, especially at this time, it can be equally disappointing and saddening time for people who might not be where they want to be. And so I would encourage those who might be sort of straddling joy and sadness all at once to consider investing in yourself by attending a workshop or a program. Ideally, of course, Teresa and I would love for you to join a REACH workshop, but there are many organizations available, and Centers for Spiritual Living is one of them. They teach classes as well, and any one of them might as well bring you aid. And so I would recommend that you email us and let us know if you're interested, but we will bring you more on that when we have the final details. Thank you for tolerating my babbling. On that note, we don't apparently have any callers on tonight's topic. So we should probably say goodnight. Oh, you want me to give the number out again? 845-353-2910. Again, that's 845-353-2910. So if you're interested in commenting on today's show or have something you'd like to share, please call. We have a couple of more minutes. We can hold out for you.
Oh, I just got an email from Cindy. She said they were trying, but they couldn't find us. I guess when we started late, they couldn't find us. So, so I sent out another email saying, please join us, because we were late.
Okay. Yes, there was some tremendous traffic tonight. 2-hour delay on the George Washington. Westbound, 2 hour, 118 minutes. So I just rounded it off. It's 2 hours. 118-minute delay. If it's 118, it might as well be
120.
Yeah, 120. It might as well be 300 for me because I sit in traffic like that. I have been the unfortunate one to sit in that traffic. So my heart went, when I was driving here, my heart went out as I saw all the cars stopped.
On the other side?
Yeah, and stopped. You're not even creeping. You are stopped.
I was listening to a story once, someone tell me out in LA how the traffic is, I think, awful, just awful out there also. And someone was speaking with her friend, and he said, I am in the monastery of the Los Angeles freeway. And she's like, what are you talking about?
The monastery, because he wasn't moving.
He wasn't moving, and he was being with himself. Sometimes it's a great opportunity to be stuck in traffic.
I used to
with nowhere
meditate
to go,
when I commuted.
to meditate, and so after that, he shared with her several months later that in that moment on the thruway, on the LA Expressway there, that he created $1 million idea. In several months, he created, out of whatever was going through his mind at that time, the $1 million idea.
How beautiful is that? How beautiful.
So if we could take time in this winter solstice, like as we're looking for rebirth, as we're maybe assessing how the year went. Was the year, at the beginning of a year, I promise I'm going to go to the gym, I'm going to get healthier, I'm going to have better relationships, I'm going to, whatever it is, create a better business, set more goals, accomplish more goals. And that momentum will last for a short amount of time on your own. So if we can somehow get some support, because it's not always that it's not in us that we can't do it. Sometimes we just need some help to maybe reframe the situation. Sometimes we get down on ourselves and we just don't know what we don't know, and we can't see ourselves when we're in the frame. When they're in the picture, we just can't see outside of it. We don't have a higher view.
That's right.
And all that capacity is always within us. If you could dream it, if you could think of it, that means you could reach it. And we may not be able to reach it on our own. We may need some help and support along the way, a friend, or a spiritual practice, or just something that helps us reframe, just get over the hump to get you to the next level and the next level. So and sometimes traffic is a really great place to contemplate that, and really appreciate what's the gift. Always appreciate what's the gift that I'm in at this moment, at this time.
Yeah, I think that's the important statement. As we've been looking these last 9-10 weeks in Reach 2, it's to see each and every situation for the most positive that it can bring you. And when you look at things with that attitude, things change. Things very definitely change. It's hard in the moment. We all know it's hard in the moment. We all have our stories, and some of us stick to them, for a long time.
Some of us are addicted to the story.
My story, and I'm sticking to it, But if we can, like the camera, take the panoramic view rather than the, sometimes in meditation, I have people look at the light, which is them. And as long as they focus and they see that little light and that's them, I said, okay, now widen your view.
Right. And
see how that light is connected and see how it's really a much bigger light. If you can make the transition from seeing things from a very narrow view to seeing the opportunities, to seeing the positivity, that's what we're talking about all the time in Science of Mind.
Right. And what does a best friend do when something's going on in your life? You can usually always count on your best friend, right? To lean
buck
on
you up.
and
Help
or
you see that.
tell you like it is. Sometimes whether that's, the proverbial glass of cold water in your face, or it's like, snap out of it type of thing. Investing in any type of program and deliberately putting yourself in an environment of spiritual support and spiritual content, and taking your direction off of all of the distractions, and really honing in on ourselves and what our goals are, that along with the self-awareness, the growth in our consciousness takes place. It's this simultaneous, it just all starts to gel. Things start to, you start to melt into yourself and reconcile with your oneness. For many people, oneness, the concept of oneness, is very foreign to them. And so deliberately resolving to reconcile with yourself, your true self, and understand more of your true and inherent nature. Just the attention, whether it's a 6-week, 8-week, or 10-week, it can't help but bring change. It can't help. We could repeat this conversation over and over again, and I'm a saleswoman for 30 years, so I can sell it to you. But the truth of the matter is, each and every one of us knows where we are. We can feel it, we think it, and I sometimes, does it sound like pie in the sky? If you really are feeling a lack of any kind in your life, whether it's a lack in financial security or lack of love, it's an inside job. It is an inside job. And so, do what you will, but recognize that it's an inside job and do your work. And then your life changes, because once you know that you're empowered to make the choices, you immediately start to build confidence and strength in your direction. So,
yeah, I believe part of the work that I think I'm here to do is really to help people see their greatness, and not only see it once in a while, but believe in it. There is so much greatness inside each one of us.
Until it becomes our I amness. Right? When you can truly claim I am. It's interesting, but when you listen to your dialogue, and if you do this for a week, like, try this experiment for the week, us as well as our viewers, and practice noticing what comes after your I am, no matter what you're talking about, and no matter to whom. Practice recording, writing it down and journaling, or just keep a memo pad with you of some sort, post it, for God's sakes. But start noticing the word that follows every time you use I am. I am annoyed, I am mad, I am happy, I am aggravated, or whatever it might be. I'm hurried, I'm in a rush, I'm busy. Practice recording that, and you will be able to see. I think if you did that for a week, you'd be able to see. It would make perfect sense. It would explain your conditions
absolutely.
Perfectly. Right? And it's something, it's 2 little words. It's not 2 little words. It's I am. And it is so incredibly powerful.
Right. And then on the other side of that, when you notice that, on the other side, if you're saying, oh, I'm so stupid, or I'm so careless, or I'm so whatever, let's think about taking what's the opposite of that word and replacing the word with, instead of I'm so stupid, I'm awesome. And just by contemplating and thinking about, if I say I'm awesome as opposed to I'm stupid, what could I generate out of that? What's the next thought? And it's like taking that thought and what's the next higher thought and the next higher thought, and see what opens up in your day, in the moment, in the hour, in what you can accomplish with just changing a word. Right.
And exactly, just changing a word. And then for a moment, let's entertain the part of our mind that says, oh no, I can't say that. What if somebody hears me? Yeah.
I'm awesome.
Yes.
Say that. Let's say that.
I am awesome. So what would be wrong with that? And what part, and if that's the case, because it is for many, look, at first it feels kind of fun, people they might think I'm conceited, or I'm this, or I'm that. You're actually understanding and learning that your vocabulary and that the words you speak are truly acted upon, and that and become manifest. Thoughts become things, and words have the power, backed by our emotions, to really fuel what follows I am.
One of my favorite quotes is from Dr. Fernando Flores, who I studied with him back in the 80s. He was way ahead of his time. He was actually a Chilean. He was a prisoner, a political prisoner. He was the head of finance for the country of Chile. And when he came to the United States, one of my favorite quotes from him was, "Language not only describes, but it creates." And that has stuck with me for 20, I don't know, almost 30 years. Unbelievable I'm saying that, but almost 30 years. That, right? Yeah, 30 years.
But how true is that?
It not only describes, but it creates. And so just think of that as we finish, because we're down to the last couple of minutes. I invite you to really think about that. How whatever we say, I am, not only describe, but creates in our life. Right. And if you're inclined to, please reach out to us, either at thisorbetter.com in the contact, or Theresa with an H at dynamicevolution.com, or maybe Jan. Maybe Jan is someone that you might want to get in touch with. So contact us. If you want to get in touch with Jan, just go to thisorbetter.com and we'll get you in touch with her.
And this workshop name, it's Resolution Success. Resolution Success is the Reach Workshop's third series, Resolution Success. You are approaching solstice, a time of rebirth, reconciling with your oneness, and resolving to succeed to your highest potential. And Resolution Success Workshop will help you do that. In the meantime, we do have to close the evening. It's now 7:59, and I think it was a great show. I love engaging in this divine dialogue. The more we do, the broader our consciousness, the broader our horizon. And so on that note, I bid you a good week, a good evening, peace, and let it not be a season of chaos in your life, but a season of bliss and celebration. Enjoy the week. And one more, we won't be here next week, the Monday before Christmas Eve, right, December 23rd. There will be no This or Better Divine Dialogue show, but we will be back the following Monday, just to pump you up the day before New Year's Eve.
Absolutely.
And remind you of your resolution success, your promise to yourself. Have a good night, folks, and thank you for watching.
Thank you. Good night.
It's not just radio, it's Rockland World Radio. RocklandWorldRadio.com